How does your body feel just hearing the word money? Do you feel it's never enough? Do you feel there's never enough? Do you feel that you are scared to spend? Do you feel scared to buy yourself things, or uncomfortable buying yourself things, or uncomfortable even being gifted through other people? Or are you uncomfortable with people giving you nice gifts or treating you? Hello and welcome back to Legendary with Lexy Rose. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs, visionaries, female way showers to dismantle anything that has kept them stuck and unapologetically create the life and business of your biggest dreams. Okay, today's episode is going to be a fun one. It's around money, how you feel about it, and helping you welcome in new levels of wealth with ease, spending money with more ease, and most importantly, receiving with ease. Wherever you are, I invite you to take a really deep breath in and call back your energy from everyone and everything. And as you exhale, you're just going to release anything that's felt heavy, anything that's felt in your way, anything that has felt challenging. And with your next breath in, you're going to breathe in miracles. You're going to invite in possibility. You're going to breathe into new levels of support and power within you. And as you take your next breath in, I invite you to set an intention for yourself today. Is there something that you want to experience? Is there something you want to feel? Is there something you want to know? Is there something you want to manifest right now in your life? And know simply that through your intention and attention, things are already moving in accordance with that. My intention for today is that you feel a little bit more at ease around money, that you feel a little bit more inspired and a little bit more empowered, and that this episode gives you exactly what you need today. All right, so this episode, as I mentioned, is all around money, money, money. If you are feeling any ick around money, even the word itself, that is a very good indication that there is a little bit of work that you can do to create some ease around it. Whenever there's a lot of charge around someone, whether it's a certain person, whether it's a thing, whether it's an idea, when I say charge, I mean whenever it feels activating on some level, that means that your power is given to that thing. And for me, money was something that I was very blessed and fortunate to have parents that literally allowed me to buy whatever I wanted. I was very grateful. Yes, I did have also jobs growing up, but beauty was a very big part of our life, going on vacations, buying beautiful clothes. I was so blessed to experience that. However, I do also know that in moments there was my parents would get things for me and then they would probably get annoyed or feel guilty for spending so much money, or they would say, oh, well, you just got that, you need to be good, right? There was something that I was not doing right. And my parents were doing the best that they could with what they know, and they always have. And I'm not here to bash my parents by any means, but what I'm bringing to surface right now is some of the dynamics that we begin to associate either having to be on our best behavior, or that may mean compromising ourselves or contorting ourselves or shutting up when we want to speak up, right? So that we can receive. And I want you to just think about right here and now, what is growing up? How did money feel to you? What was the story that began to create a narrative of your experience with money? Early on is where we begin to develop so many understandings of who we are in the world and what we need to do to be safe. And money is very much a big part of our sense of safety in this world and our ability to, have food and shelter and all the things. So growing up, money was there, but it was also something that didn't always feel easy. I remember going shopping and my mom would be like, oh, I feel guilty, I bought that. And then I would begin to associate guilt with buying, guilt with receiving. And a lot of clients, when they come to me, there is guilt around money, and money is often a thing that women either want to make more of or they want to learn to feel safe with. So when I bring up the word money, what is the feeling that's coming through your body? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? How does your body feel just hearing the word money? Do you feel it's never enough? Do you feel there's never enough? Do you feel that you are scared to spend? Do you feel scared to buy yourself things, or uncomfortable buying yourself things, or uncomfortable even being gifted through other people? Or are you uncomfortable with people giving you nice gifts or treating you? So I'm going to come back to my story again. So growing up, I had access to beautiful things. My parents were very generous with me. But underneath all of it, I remember feeling funny. I remember, I had friends of all different walks of life. And I remember going out with them and like feeling funny that I had on something nice. And then other friends I would be like excited to have on something nice. Or when we would be walking through an airport, I remember my mom was always dressed so fabulous. But there was a part of me that, as much as I was proud of her, I felt funny because I thought, oh my God, people are going to think we have money. And there was always this like weird dynamic around money. And whenever there is a weird dynamic around anything or charge around anything, as I mentioned earlier, it means that that thing has power over us. And in my life, I like to understand and know that I have power over my life. I am leading money. I am leading my reality. And this is what I help women do, is understand that no, money doesn't have power over me. Money just is a natural resource of who I am. Money is a part of an exchange of energy. And I don't want to suffer the way people in my lineage have. And I want to create a life that's really abundant and rich and prosperous in all the ways. And money is just an element of that. Money doesn't define me. It doesn't define who I am. And I feel for myself, money was always this denominator that meant something, right? It was a status symbol that I could identify with or not identify with, but I never felt comfortable with it. I was ashamed around it, scared about it. And there was this underlying feeling that I had that money was somehow bad, or that having money, having it made people bad. And if you think about maybe even religion, I grew up Catholic, and there are a lot of stories around money, right, with that. But a lot of the work around money and a lot of the work just around everything that I do is to reprogram and understand, well, what is actually the truth here? What is a distortion and what is the truth? A distortion feels heavy. A distortion feels disempowering. A distortion makes you feel uncomfortable. And the truth is pure. The truth is light. The truth sets you free. And when you have a relationship with money where there isn't a lot of charge around it, your ability to receive it is that much greater. And today we want to talk through some of the stories, some of the things that might be coming up for you, and how to release that for good. Once I graduated high school, I entered college. And I remember having such a strange relationship with money. Every time I would see money in my account, thankfully, I did have a little bit of money coming in from my parents. As again, I'm so grateful for that experience that they had given me. But I didn't have tools I didn't know how to spend it. Money would come in and I would spend it. Money would come in and I would spend it. And then when I was styling, the same thing happened. I never really learned how to have a healthy relationship with money. So while externally, things look like one way, internally, my relationship with money was incredibly unhealthy, unbalanced. And when I became a stylist, it became super obvious because the second I got paid, I would spend it. And I was reckless with it. I was avoidant. I was emotionally reactive with money. And I remember even having a lot of difficulty charging because it was almost as though I was avoiding money, right? I didn't even want to look at my bank account. So for those of you who, especially entrepreneurs, when you have your own business, and we have to have a healthy relationship with our money if we want to grow our money. So now every week, and I always invite my private clients into this, is to have a money date. You want to have a money date. You want to know what's going out. You want to know what's coming in. You want to know that when you are spending with intention. I didn't know how to hold money, nor did I want to look at my bank account. So there was these deep-rooted unconscious fears really around having money. If I had too much of it, something bad would happen, or people would judge me, or somehow I would be bad because of it. So I think that was this underlying reason why I was always trying to let go of it. And also through this process, I realized, I realized later, I did not realize at this time, but I just felt so unsafe in my body in general that any additional amount of energy or As much as I said that I wanted money, I still didn't have the capacity to actually be with it, to experience it. So when I started this business and when I decided that I wanted to do healing work, Reiki, breath work, all of these things, when I set up my LLC, Lexy Rose Limitless, I made a commitment to myself that everything about this business would be so intentional. And I believe that when we do have businesses, it becomes an initiation for us to really empower ourselves every step of the way. So for me, when I set up my LLC, when I opened my bank account, I knew that this was going to be a whole new era. My intention and my commitment was, this is going to be a whole new era around my relationship with money, how I make money, how I feel around money, because I knew that if I was going to be bringing really amazing, magical experiences that transform people's lives into this experience of life, I would have to know how to receive money, how to work with money. And I also knew that it would be something that I would end up teaching people how to work with. No, this is not the fundamental priority of what I do with women, but as a result of the work that I share, people just naturally make more money because all the conditioning around who they have to be, how they need to receive, every way that they have dimmed their power or their light or self-abandon, they empower themselves through this work so that money is natural. Money just is. They know that they can receive, that in fact they're required to receive, and money should be, I believe, in the hands of women like you, people with big hearts who want to create big change in this world. So that was my commitment. And through that commitment, I began to realize that so many unconscious stories around what I needed to do to receive money, like, kept coming to the surface. So overworking, overgiving, pushing harder, exhausting myself, proving myself. These were all dynamics and all patterns that I did so much as a stylist. Like, I gave every bit of blood, sweat, and tears at the expense of myself, self-sacrifice, to make that career work, and it never worked. It just didn't. As much as I was brilliantly talented, I was at a place, emotionally, addiction, going through an addiction, eating disorder, all those things, depressed. I couldn't sustain the level of, vast success that I wanted to create because it was all coming from the wrong place. It was all coming from me needing to prove my worth, to self-sacrifice. Whenever we do things that are going against the grain of our truth, of like the sacredness of our life, it's going to backfire. A lot of women have a lot of different belief systems around money, but generally it's all coming from the same thing. And these are some of the beliefs that I'd like you to check in with yourself and just see where you stand. I can make money, but I can't hold it. I can either have peace or money, but not both. If I relax, I will fall behind. Receiving is unsafe. It's safer to stay small. I have to do everything alone. I'm only valuable when I'm producing. I have to self-sacrifice to create money. And many women don't even realize these stories are running beneath the surface until I actually check in with them and have conversations, and we start opening their field, their energetic field, and things really become viscerally clear. And these underlying stories begin to shape everything: how you receive, how you spend, the wealth you create, how you charge for your work, how you lead, how you feel safe expanding. And constantly, this is what I see with women, especially women who are high achievers and entrepreneurs. Women making money but still are feeling terrified about when the next check is coming in. Women receiving money but not trusting themselves with it, like always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Women constantly thinking about money, stressing about money, gripping around money because unconsciously they're scared that that money is not going to come back or that they're going to have to do more to get that money. Women overworking just to feel worthy of receiving. That's a big one, right? Like doing so much to prove that it's safe for them to receive. And then when they get it, it's like they still don't feel safe. And this is why I believe the work that we can do around money is some of the deepest work we can do, because it really amplifies, especially when we bring up money, it begins to amplify everything about us because it gets to the core of our beliefs. For some reason, like money is this, it's a representation of so much of our inner workings, where our values land, where our values are, who we are as people, what we believe about our worth, what we believe about people who have money and create success, what we believe about success. Money touches your sense of safety, your identity, your self-worth, visibility, your own inherent power, receiving. So the reason why this work that I do is so powerful is because we're getting to unconscious core patterning that lies in the body on a cellular level and also in the brain, and we're unraveling the old stories that are in the way. And these old stories, generally how we are with money is how we are with love, right? It's how we are in our relationships. And when we get clear about what isn't of our truth, what is learned, what is a survival strategy, we begin to really understand where we stand and become more intentional about who we are and how we're moving through the world. My clients experience such massive financial shifts working with me because my work obviously is not strategy. I help women get to the root of the stories that they've been carrying around money for years and years and years, and often come through their lineage, right? They often come through their maternal line, paternal line. They've been learned through society, through and often this information lives in our DNA. And so many of these stories are unconscious. They're inherited, they're conditioned, and they're stored in the body and in the nervous system. So even when someone consciously desires more wealth, their body may still be resisting it. And with my legendary method, I help you rapidly uncover and release what is in your way. So this combines breath work, holy fire, Reiki, energetic clearing, subconscious reprogramming, nervous system regulation to help you dissolve the distortions that have been keeping you stuck in cycles of fear, of overworking, of self-abandonment, of scarcity, and survival. And when this heaviness is released, it literally creates the pathway for the money to come in. You begin to feel at ease in your body. You begin to feel more supported and safe with being supported. You begin to open up to new levels of wealth flow, safety, opportunities, ease. And last week, an amazing thing happened. Something really incredible happened after a private session. A client came to me in session carrying a deep unconscious belief that she had to work incredibly hard for money. And in our discussion, I really understand, she said she wanted more money, but as we spoke and what I could see in her field was her idea of having more money meant that she had to do more, and she was literally at capacity. So therefore, she was not able to attract larger sums of money because there was this underlying belief that she would have to do more, and she simply did not have the energy for it. She felt scared around that. She felt scared because if she was going to make money, as much as she wanted to make more money, if she was going to make more money, she would not be able to have the capacity because she didn't have the energy for it. She believed that money had to come through exhaustion, through pressure, through pushing, through overextending herself. And underneath all of this was the fear that if she slowed down, supported herself, or allowed things to be easier, that money would disappear. And also, at the same time, she believed that she would not be able to hold the money. So inside this session, we identified the story, the pressure, the fear, the emotional charge she'd been carrying around receiving. And through my legendary method, we released it. We cleared the heaviness in her body that she'd been holding around money, survival patterns of needing to work more to receive, the belief that she had to prove herself to receive. She felt safer in her body. And then at that point, I moved her into a higher wealth activation to connect her to the version of herself who no longer needed to struggle for money. The version of her that was available for support, the version of her that was open to overflow, to ease, to receiving. And one day after this session, she signed a $45,000 contract. Okay? She literally got an email from a client that she had been speaking to for months and signed this contract for $45,000. Because she cleared in that session, we cleared what was in the way of her and the things she wanted and all the beliefs. When you shift on an energetic level, your reality shifts. When you change the understanding and your beliefs, opportunities can arrive in a moment, miracles can happen in an instant. Your reality is not responding to what you say you want. It is responding to who you are. And this is exactly what we are doing inside of Money Miracles on May 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a live $44 experience where I'm taking you through the exact practices I use with private clients to help them clear unconscious money blocks, regulate their nervous system so they feel safe receiving more, being with more money, and welcome in new levels of abundance and prosperity with ease. Inside this experience, we are going to identify your unconscious money patterns, clear energetic heaviness around money, release the beliefs keeping wealth at a distance, expand your capacity. We are going to expand your capacity to safely hold and be with more love. We are going to expand your capacity to safely hold and be with new levels of wealth. And we're going to activate you on your highest wealth timeline through my higher wealth activation. I have never done this in a live group experience, and I'm so excited for this. This is for the woman who is ready to stop fighting with money, to start fighting for money, to stop feeling unsafe around money. Even if you have tons of money, I work with women who have a lot of money and still feel unsafe with money. This is the healing for you. Money should feel fun. Money should feel supportive. Money should just simply arrive, and it will. And this is what we're doing on the 26th of May. If you cannot attend live, you will get the recording. And guess what? This experience is only for $44.44. I cannot wait to support you inside. Reserve your spot in the show notes below under Money Miracles. Thanks for being with me today. It has been such a pleasure and an honor. And welcome to your next level of overflow. If you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and send this to someone who might need a little support with their money. See you soon. Bye.